Covenant is sealed by blood. So the Christian marriage we have, that is called covenant marriage, must be sealed by blood. And we look at what is the sealing of the blood. Okay. So he said, the verse says, and it shall be a circumstance in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant. It shall be what? A sign of the covenant. It shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. Okay. It shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. And he said, he who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised. Every male child in your generation, he who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised. And my covenant shall be with your flesh for an everlasting covenant. He said, the uncircumcised male child who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Which means that if you don't join by blood, you are not part of the group. That's why we have secret societies. With the covenant, they use the blood covenant. Are you getting it? They use the blood covenant. Let me tell you, a covenant is a covenant. So when you talk about covenant, we have level of covenant. So one, we have covenant that is presented by animal, which God told the same Abraham to introduce the animal covenant. But later on, he shifted it to the next level. He shifted it to the next level. So every covenant is sealed by blood. So in the covenant that we find ourselves across the world, we use blood. So it can be any form of blood, animal blood, anything that has blood can be used to sign the covenant. But the level of covenant determines the kind of blood you give. So let me say that when it comes to the covenant, and I want to for us to understand how powerful this covenant is. Okay, how powerful this covenant is. When you understand covenant, the amount of blood that you give out and the type of blood determines how powerful that covenant is. So, for instance, if you enter into a covenant and then they ask you to bring bird, okay, the bird blood is very small. Okay, I get it. So the one that presents a fowl, or today we call it chicken, blood, his covenant will be powerful than the one who presented the bird. The one that presented the goat, his covenant will be powerful than the one who presented the fowl. Because the amount of the blood determines how strong your covenant is. Okay. The one who presented a cow, a bull, the covenant will become more stronger than the one who presented the sheep. That is why when Solomon presented a thousand bull, God appeared. Because it was very strong to call the attention of God. People don't understand. Today, if somebody will ask the question, do we still give up animal? The answer is yes and no. I will explain that. Because today we don't give physical animal for such covenant, which happens on the occult world. But then we present something, actually money, because we use money to buy animal. I get it. Those things. So the amount of giving you give, someone say, oh yes, let me tell you, don't lie to yourself. That's what we have said so many times. Every giver will be blessed. The non-giver. You must understand this. There's no way. If God said that, he loved, what's the name? David, and hated Saul, you cannot do anything about it. I got it. The question is that, what did David do? This man was a man of sacrifice. He understands what sacrifice is all about. This man is a man whom they went and fought and brought him water. And said, this kind of water is not just a mere water. This water is made by human blood. Because people have to die and risk their life. And he poured it as a sacrifice. You don't understand these revelations. You don't. You cannot compare yourself with David. He understands spiritually all these things. No, I must be somebody now. Very important. So, when it comes to covenant, it is made by blood. So, now, when God wanted to lift the covenant with Abraham, to the next level, he now introduced, let me tell you, we have the blood of the animals, we have the blood of the human. The blood of the human is one of the highest on earth. That's why when people who do schedule, money rituals, they use human blood. That's the reason, because it is very, very, very powerful. So when God wanted to lift the covenant to the next level, he had to introduce human blood by, Abraham now releasing a token to seal the covenant. Okay. Where does it come in our marriage? It is very important to understand that these things matters. So now, if the Bible says that the man shall leave his father and mother, the man on the 8th day established a direct covenant with God. Understand this. The man on the 8th day established a direct covenant with God, because the Bible says that, and the man shall leave his mother, his father and mother. But actually, in reality, who leaves the house is a woman. So it does mean that spiritually, on the 8th day, the boy child is not under the covenant of the father. He will only be under guidance to grow. But the girl child is under the covenant of the father. Are you getting it? The girl child is under the covenant of the father. The girl child is under the covenant of the father. So here it says that on the 8th day, the boy child will not be circumcised, will introduce blood to God and sign the covenant as part of the covenant child. That's what it means. It means that the boy child on the 8th day will to be introduced. So on the 8th day, the boy child is not under the covenant of the father. The boy child is not under the covenant, but the girl child is under the protection covenant of the father. What happens is that, so the boy on the 8th day has left. So that was the Bible says, and the man shall leave. And the man shall leave and cleave to the wife. And cleave to the wife. Actually, physically, the woman rather leaves to cleave to the husband. But spiritually, we are dealing with spiritual understanding. That the man leaves. That is why when you are a man, you should be a man of authority on your own. When you are a man and your mother still controls you, you are a boy. You are not, even though you have signed your covenant, you are still not grown. Because you need to take authority over your family. You need to have control of your family. You need to take care of your family. Your father should not be taking care of you once you are taking care of your family. Your father should not be controlling your wife. You should be a man on your own to control your family, to direct them. That's what Joshua said. I and my family, we shall serve the Lord. So it is him and his family. The rest can make their decisions. But that's why he's the man of the house. He has made his decision. That myself, my wife, and our children, we are serving the Lord. So when the covenant was signed, it was signed for the man, his wife, and children to follow a certain party. I get it. So it means that you use the blood to sign. So when God wanted to lift this covenant to the next level, he introduced now a human blood. Okay. The question is that before Abraham, were there these things? Yes. Somehow. I get it. But when that happens, where does the woman come in? The woman comes in when we talk about ordinance marriage or covenant marriage. The woman comes in when we introduce sex. That is where virginity is very important in the marriage. But today, the church will have kept quiet and there's a mess in the system. I am not saying that when you are not a virgin, you don't sign covenant. You do. And we'll explain that. We'll explain that. We'll come to the place to understand that though even not virgin, you can still sign a covenant, because Bible said that, and all things shall pass away. Behold, all things become what? New. So as long as you accept Christ, your past record is gone. And you're supposed to live with Christ. Are you getting me? So now, when you sign the covenant, on the marriage day, and most of the tradition does this. What they do is that, as long as the man signed the covenant with the blood to God, the woman now, because the less is the one who introduces the blood. The less is the one who introduces the blood. Are you following me? So if I want to make a covenant, it's not the deity that produces the blood. I will have to introduce the blood. I follow the whole thing. So as long as the man is the head of the family, the woman must come with the blood also. I don't know what I'm saying, if you understand. The woman must also come with the blood. Why does the woman come with the blood? The woman come with the blood being a virgin. So any woman that have even had sex before, and for a number of years she has not had sex, when they have sex again, that woman will introduce blood. I hope you are following me. So most traditions, that is why some of the traditions like the Krobos, they do what do you call it? No, the Santis do bragro, and the Krobos do what do you call the Pope. Try to encourage virgins, so that you become, when they do it now, you can now go and marry. Why? Because they understand these things. Even our tradition understand these things, but we have thrown away some of the things that is even more biblical. Okay, that's more biblical. So now, what that means is that the woman must come with the blood. How does the woman come with it? She comes in as a virgin, and on the marriage day introduces sex. So those days, our mothers will present a white, how do you call it, cloth on the bed, or they will lay a white bedsheet. And when that happens, some of the traditions actually celebrate the woman. Why? Because she has come to do the true covenant. You see, you don't understand why the devil is fighting the church by destroying marriages, by destroying the young girls. They having sex left and right. It is not because manners say, they don't, because they are sport, but the devil knows this, and for that reason, he wants to destroy our young girls before they even enter marriage. They want to destroy them. So the girl child coming to the marriage and introduce blood. So when the girl child introduce the blood, now that covenant is stronger than the father's covenant. That is why the girl child now has the mandate to change the father's name and carry the husband's name. Because now this covenant was by birth, but this covenant is by blood. And blood covenants are more stronger than the birth covenant. That is why when you sign that covenant, you and the man becomes a family than the one who gave birth to you. And for that reason, anything that belongs to the man belongs to you. Anything that belongs to the woman belongs to the man. So the legal aspect looked at these conditions and placed in our legal conditions. Unless you go and sign prenup, because people's evil intentions was what to introduce prenup. As whatever I owe, I don't need to go and sign any contract again. It belongs to my wife and my children. My family can enjoy parts, but the law protects them to own almost everything, unless I write a will. You must understand these things. If you don't understand, that is what the church is lacking. We are having a problem, serious problem. Now, let me even go deeper. Let me show you something. I did say that when you have sex with anyone, covenant will be established. Can you have multiple covenants? That's where you're going to have problem with yourself. So when you sign ordinance marriage, it means that you are not to marry any other person. Because when you do that, they will not catch you against what's called bigamy. It's against the law. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, the verse 16. Let me start from the verse 15. The verse 15. Do you know that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them members of a harlot? Certainly not. Or do you know that he who joins to a harlot in one body with her, for the two shall become one flesh. But he who joins to the Lord is one spirit with him. Don't you realize, NLT, that if a man joins himself to a prostitute, he becomes one body with her? What do you mean by prostitute? Which means when you sleep with a prostitute, you have already joined. Because that particular sex act is as you sign a covenant. So just imagine people having sex left and right. And when you sign that covenant, please, how to call it, destinies are changing. Let me tell you, the marriage you go into can make you or will make you. So the person you can have sex with can destroy your life or can build your life.